happy Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome inside the very sunny and very warm Wayzata Trojan High School soccer field as we get set for a Lake Conference battle as the Trojans welcome in the Eden Prairie Eagles doubleheader tonight. The girls will start us off as you see the weather at 80 degrees here. Summer is back at least for one day. Joined by Sig Ligry, and Sig mentioned this is a Lake Conference battle in this very unique of soccer seasons. It is all Lake Conference battles, at least from here on out for these two teams, and that means it's a tough road for both of these teams.
Yeah, it really is, because you're playing some good competitive teams. You only had 11 games in the season. You look at the conference, Edina on top right now, 4-0, followed by Minnetonka, St. Michael, Albertville, Wayzata, Eden Prairie, Hopkins, and Buffalo. And all those teams are tough. Wayzata played Edina at the very first game of the year, lost 3-1, but Edina is such a strong team, and Wayzata bounced back, won the last two games. For Eden Prairie, played some very difficult teams. They played Edina tough. They lost by 1 goal. So, I mean, the competition is really tough, and it's tough to ask these players to play immediately into a conference game.
And of course, they didn't really play much in the summer. They didn't really play much in the spring, so they've really had to jump right back into it here in the high school season. And like you said, very strange to see these two teams that have so much history. Only 2 years ago, of course, Wayzata was in their last state championship game, losing that one to Minnetonka in 2018. But these two teams have been to so many championship games, been to so many state tournaments. Odd to see them in the middle of the pack in this conference, but I think, as you said, that says more about what the Lake Conference is than what these two teams are. Very good soccer teams here.
Absolutely.
We will step aside as they play our national anthem.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Roku and Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You also have access to a large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find the app, go to the store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all of your favorite local content. Now available on Roku and Apple TV.
And we are ready for our opening kickoff here. Wayzata and Eden Prairie for the first time this year. Of course, they will meet again in this condensed season. It will be October 6th, final game of the regular season for both schools. 2 meetings last year, a draw and a Wayzata win. This has not been a tough or a very easy place for Eden Prairie to play. They haven't won here since the 2015 season. We are underway. Eden Prairie in the white, Wayzata in their familiar yellow. And the first intervention from Lily Nayar, the sophomore, number 18. And Wayzata takes possession. Mentioned a lot of history between these two schools. Everybody knows about Wayzata. More state tournaments than any other school. They have been to 27 of them. Eden Prairie no slouch, however, at 10. All of those since 2003. Wayzata got a great start as they were in championship games in the far back as the early 80s. An early chance there goes just over the bar. And Eden Prairie survives an early challenge.
Yeah, I thought Wayzata was really moving that ball well down the field. They finally got a shot off just over the top of the goal area.
Good start for Wayzata, who has not played since last Tuesday. Both of these teams played Hopkins last week, and that's the last game for both of them. And running out of room on this near sideline, Ramira Ambrose, the junior. Wayzata with the 4-2 win over Hopkins on Tuesday, and Eden Prairie got the 1-0 win over the Royals on Thursday, snapping a 3-game losing streak for Eden Prairie. Started out their year with a win over Minneapolis Washburn, then losses at Edina, at St. Michael Albertville, at Minnetonka. They're looking for their first win away from Aries Stadium this year. They're 2-0 at home, 0-3 away. And again, the attack here for Wayzata, the cross coming from Nayar, dropping in the dangerous spot in the penalty area, and then bursting off her line is the freshman Lily Madison in goal for Eden Prairie. Two young goalkeepers in this game. Lily Madison, a freshman, and Becca Carroll, a sophomore. And at least in Carroll's part, what Tony Pesnecker told us before the game, she came out of nowhere and just won the job. First-year varsity player.
That's not bad as a 10th grader.
Now Maddie Esog, leading scorer for Eden Prairie this year, looking for the cross. It's deflected down by Ambrose and then cut out in the middle. And right back comes Wayzata on the attack with Nayar, sending it down the line. And a good run on here for Abby Brantner. Very much the focal point of this offensive group, and it's touched away from her by Megan Bolig, the senior. One of the captains for Eden Prairie, away from one of the Wayzata captains, Brantner and Bolig, and it's the first corner of the match. There you get a good up-close look at Lily Madison, starting high school as a hybrid high school student. It's got to be an odd feeling. In swinging corner here for Wayzata, and a dangerous one, and it fell near the feet of Dana Brewer.
That was a nice corner, went right where you wanted, into the goal area.
Throwing along the far side here for Wayzata. Two very early good opportunities for the Trojans. Battle for it on that far side. Wayzata able to take possession back. Picking it up is Amaya Conway. Just over 3 minutes gone here in the opener of our doubleheader between these two schools.
And we'll do the throw-in all over again.
Play very much in the Eden Prairie end here early as Conway looks for the cross. That's blocked down, and they'll try it one more time. Played near the middle and then hammered away by Mim Marson. Wayzata able to collect easily. Given away, however, Kira Christensen for Eden Prairie. Pardon me, this is Megan Timmerman, number 15. Taken back now and turned over by Ramira Ambrose. Timmerman won it for a moment in the midfield area. We'll jump back on it again. A little help from Esog. Into the middle, and unable to turn with it was Kylie Lovekin. Brantner looking for support, found Marson. Brantner wins it back. Very experienced player, Abby Brantner. Third year of varsity for Wayzata. Runs into a crowd of white shirts in the corner, but they will get a throw in out of it.
So they maintained possession. That was a big thing.
Doing the defending there again was Megan Bolig, who will likely be shadowing Brantner all day long. Ambrose, the junior, over to hurl this one in. Wayzata with only 3 seniors on its roster, which is kind of hard to imagine for a school that has such a great soccer program.
Right.
This is a year they just don't have a ton of experience.
But they're playing fairly well. So the future looks pretty bright for this team because they're going to get some really good experience this year.
Eden Prairie, 8 seniors on its side. Only 4 of them, however, in the starting lineup. And they have only 5 players returning from last year and a new coach this year, Kelly Taylor.
So all sorts of new things going on. There's a look at head coach Kelly Taylor sitting across the way.
Spent last year as an assistant at Benilde St. Margaret's. Great program they have over there. Scott Helling-Christie, the head coach. Another chance here for Wayzata. And Madison with her first save as Brantner from a sharp angle flashed one right across the face of the goal, and it's another corner for Wayzata. Territorial possession dominant here for the Trojans in the early going. Here's that chance again.
Comes across there, and yeah, just got a paw on it.
This corner swings out toward the top of the box. Not sure that's where it was intended, but it did end up on a Wayzata foot. The danger's still there. Going back out to collect it is Dana Brewer. Summer Siemens with a long-range effort, and that one's blocked down, and now Eden Prairie can try to break out, but you can see all of their attacking players are within 45 yards of their own goal at the moment. Two forwards, Esog and Lauren Becker, having to come back and help out defensively or come back farther just to get a piece of the ball.
So now they've only got one player up on top.
Another young player there you saw in your shot, Grace Estby, freshman for Wayzata.
Shot and goal.
3 seniors and 4 freshmen on this Wayzata roster, just to highlight what we were just talking about with the youth. Marson in midfield, ran into Espy on that far side, poked free. Now Amaya Conway with a little room down that left-hand side. Closed down eventually. Eden Prairie keeping its shape here, but Wayzata owning the ball. Dropped into the box looking for Brantner, and Madison alertly off her line to scoop it up. What has been a very busy opening 8 minutes and change here for the freshman Lily Madison.
She's seeing more yellow jersey than she wants to see at the moment.
Every time she looks up, Brantner is nearby. That's dangerous. Brantner with double-digit career goals, including a couple this season. Scored in each of the last 2 games has Abby Brantner, and nearly made it 3 straight. Popped one over the bar in the first 30 seconds and then had that good close-range chance.
I'm sure she wants that one back again because that was an open net.
Timmerman for Marson, the overhead. Regan Smith, one of 3 Smiths on this roster, none of whom are related for Wayzata. They do, however, have 3 Monahans, 2 twins, and in the starting lineup is Brianna Monahan, number 12. She's the older sister, a senior. Another ball in for Madison. Tony Pesnecker, who's been doing this for 31 years, told us before the game he thought it was the first time he'd ever had 3 sisters on the same roster. It's probably running out of firsts after 31 years, but that's one of them. Siemens, good ball control there. She's able to lay it on back.
Was that a switching and almost a takeaway? It'll be a throw-in for Wayzata.
Ramira Ambrose working up that far side. Mentioned Brianna Monahan. She's right in the center of that 3 at the back formation for the Trojans. This is Brantner. Now Megan Smith. I'll work that far side again. Brantner off the back of one of the Eden Prairie players. Brantner thought a handball, but nothing given by the official.
Nope, nothing called.
Siemens wide again for Conway. Another ball toward the top of the box. Timmerman tracking back to help out. And again, the Trojans able to hem Eden Prairie in here.
Wayzata moving the ball really well.
Monahan wide, Megan Smith on the left side of the back trio. Good turn by Dana Brewer. Brewer gets the low shot away, and tricky one for Madison as it was bouncing, but she's able to tip it wide.
Madison of the Eagles. The result.
Yeah, that one had some oomph on it. You'll see it again. This is a good shot from about 25 yards out. Just gets a hand out there to divert it, and it's a corner kick number 3 for the Trojans. And again, it's SB, freshman.
Left footer to curl it into a very dangerous spot at the back post and played there by the Eden Prairie defender on the post. That ball was hooking in. And the Eagles survive another mini scare. Speed down that far sideline and trying to just shelter it out for the goal kick. I believe was Claire Anderson on that far side.
Yep.
Prairie going to make its first substitution. Pardon me, Elizabeth Rupp on the far side, 10, not 19. Both very young players. Anderson in the starting lineup, number 19 for Eden Prairie, the youngest player in this game. She's just an 8th grader. Here she is on the ball, trying to turn in a yellow crowd. Not a lot of room for Claire Anderson, the youngster in the midfield area for Eden Prairie. Here's the opposite 19, Conway. Looking for Brantner, knocked away from her. And once again, a mass of Wayzata players there to win the ball back as soon as it gets to about that 40-yard line. Sprayed wide for Ambrose. Trying to open a gap in the middle.
But they'll maintain possession with the throw-in.
I would imagine that Tony Pesnecker has to like this start here from his Wayzata team.
Yeah, they're playing well together. They're moving the ball. Their passing is pretty good.
He's back out. Another shooting opportunity. That one skimmed off the back of a defender. Regan Smith with the chance for Wayzata, and Madison showing some safe hands again. There is Tony Pesnecker. He has spent half his life coaching this Wayzata team, and he's done pretty well at it.
Yes.
And he may have divulged his secret before the game, telling us that every winter he goes down, has a place in Arizona, comes back,
right.
He said, refreshed and revitalized.
Yeah, then he's ready to coach again.
Wouldn't we all be?
Eden Prairie trying to get past midfield and lose possession.
Here's Dana Brewer. Cut back into the middle, but it'll be Madison's once again. There is some room there for Brewer. Opted for the pass instead of continuing the run. One back by Estby on that far side.
Estby calling for it. Now returns.
And Madison cuts it out. We do have a problem on the near sideline. Ramira Ambrose is down. She's not injured. She just found it. She was looking for a contact lens. How you find one of those in the field of play, that is a stroke of luck.
Here's that last play.
There's the challenge, and
yeah, right there. She's, oops. I think it was just coming out. She didn't. No, she did drop it.
she will be substituted. Probably hard to put one of those back in on the fly. So coming in for her is Marissa Berg, fellow junior. Have you ever worn contact lenses? I never have.
Yes, I did.
And have you ever lost one?
No.
I can imagine. That's just got to be the ultimate needle in a haystack problem if that falls out. It's clear, for one thing.
Yep. Well, I've had some pop out. Yeah, I haven't lost any. I found them.
Another long-range effort. Caught by Madison. That one off the foot of Summer Seaman, the sophomore midfielder.
I finally learned my lesson years ago and got LASIK.
Well played. I'm hoping I never have to go that route at all, but time will tell.
Oh, it's the smartest thing I ever did. Here comes Eden Prairie on the move.
Yeah, Megan Timmerman. Good run here by Timmerman, and eventually ran into Megan Smith. One back here by Esog. Very dangerous attacker for Eden Prairie. Will be out for an Eagles throw. Eden Prairie last year 7-8-2. 2 of the last 3 years under 500 for the Eagles, and that is surprising, of course, for a team that I mentioned. 10 state tournaments in between the 2003 and 2019 seasons. None in the last 3, however. First touch of the ball for Becca Carroll, the sophomore for Wayzata. And of course, these two teams met for a state championship back in 2010, won by Eden Prairie 3-0. They have met a few other times in the state tournament. There haven't been a whole lot of years since the turn of the century where at least one of these teams hasn't been in it.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
Foul there goes against Wayzata.
Free kick for the Eagles.
There was a 4-year stretch where one of these schools won the state tournament each year between 2009 and 2012. Wayzata won 3 of them. Eden Prairie won that game in 2010 that I mentioned. Trying to split the defense there was Mim Marson. Lobbed high by Nayar. Brought down by Megan Bolig. Battle for it, won by Siemens in the midfield. Lays it off here for Brewer again. Looking wide for Estby, who has a little room on that far side. Estby eventually closed down. Well defended over there by Elizabeth Rupp. Still has work to do, however. And it comes back for Brantner. Brantner able to get loose and pokes it wide of the net. Took a stumble there
Wide.
as there was contact, and Brantner played it honest and stayed on her feet.
Yeah, that could have been a foul, but I didn't see if the referee signaled advantage. Ambrose comes back in again. Number 4 for Wayzata.
Contact's all cleared up and back in. So 3 good chances here in this first half for Brantner. And you don't want to give a player like her too many. Next career goal for her will be her 16th as a varsity player over 3 years. Best year as a sophomore 2 years ago, had 8 of them. Hard to top your best year this year when you're playing far fewer games.
Yeah, only 11 games this year.
Through the middle by Regan Smith, and there's space once again. This is Brewer. Lays it wide for Nayar.
cuts it back, and Brewer getting a foot to it. That may have touched an Eden Prairie player on the way out. It did.
Yeah, I think it did. It'll be the corner number 4.
Brewer, we talked a lot about Brandner, but Brewer, another very experienced player, and she's had a lot of room to roam in the middle of the field here for Wayzata in this first half.
This will be a left-footed shot, so it should kind of arc towards the goal area. It does.
Back post again, still not cleared. Now Eden Prairie able to get it out at least a little. And it comes harmlessly back in for the freshman Madison. Bowls it out quickly.
That's something I've been noticing the last couple of years in high school soccer. There seems to be a lot more distribution of the ball from the keeper than I've seen in the past.
Brantner lays it off for Brewer. Communication there between goalkeeper and defender. Madison was coming for that. And now there's still a dangerous chance here for Wayzata because it was half cleared and now fully cleared out to Esau. Popped up and hit her hand. So Ambrose will set it up some just inside 50 yards from goal here. Well out, but we've seen players take their chances from this distance, especially we got a freshman goalkeeper in there, not the tallest goalkeeper in the world. Ambrose not going to try it from there. It is cleared. And now a chance for Anderson to speed away. Only player ahead of her was Kylie Lovekin. Or pardon me, Lauren Becker. Back comes Wayzata again. Wide for Nayar.
That's going to go over the touchline. We throw in for the Eagles.
4 substitutions coming in for Wayzata, 1 for Eden Prairie. They'll all come on now.
Anna Munyon, Josie Brooks, Maddie Drasher, and Regan Gerber have come in for Wayzata. Drasher, player we talked to Tony Pesnecker about before the game. Great player for them a couple years ago as a freshman. Last year tore her ACL. And just sort of getting back to full fitness this year, and without the spring and summer season, very difficult. So they haven't been able to get her in the starting lineup, but keep an eye out for number 17 in yellow.
Yeah, she's been doing conditioning, obviously, and wants to get back into the playing the lineup, but they're being very careful with her. There's no reason to be, rushing it and getting a re-injury.
I would imagine with an injury like that, fitness is one thing, but just getting back in and feeling the game is another.
Well, yeah, 'cause it's a whole different world. In soccer, you're pivoting, you're shifting, you're sprinting and stuff. It takes a lot on your body.
Played back for Megan Smith. Her best option is behind her, and she'll find Carroll. And Wayzata will look to build from the back with just under 18 minutes to play in this first half. Ambrose, Esog doing some hard work to crowd her out and draws the foul as well as Ambrose had a hold of an arm. Set piece opportunity for Eden Prairie. Chance to maybe get something going here as they'll set it up with Mim Marson.
It's about 42.5 yards out, so they'll send it into a crowd and try and make something happen.
Has 5 targets up there.
There they are. Header.
Sent wide off the head of Maddie Esog.
Goal kick, Wayzata.
But Eden Prairie finally gets a shot. Not on goal, but they got a shot.
Esog, the likely player to make it happen, had the winner against Hopkins on Thursday. Third-year varsity player, number 5 in white. See on the left side of your screen. Spent most of this first half, however, just looking backwards, waiting for the ball to come her direction. As now Wayzata looking to get out on the break, but back are the Eagles. And it's Marson with some room in midfield. Closed down quickly by Josie Brooks.
You have to be impressed with the Wayzata midfield. They're doing a good job of attacking the ball and getting some takeaways.
Gerber finding Munyon on the overlap, the 2 substitutes. Munyon with the cross. And a great dummy there, and what a recovery. Excellent defensive play there by Elizabeth Rupp, because that was a beautifully conceived opportunity by Wayzata.
That was pretty.
And they're back at it again here. Maya Conway. Cross for Gerber. Good pull. Gerber with the chance, and another good stop by Madison at the near post. Well, great energy coming off the bench here for Wayzata. Here's the first one.
This is a nice cross. And almost heel kicked it in, and there the defender happens to be the right place at the right time, and keeper comes in to scoop it up.
There's Dana Brewer with the dummy. Here's the corner and skims the top of the bar.
Goal kick, Eden Prairie.
So more great chances for Wayzata. That one coming off the head of Amaya Conway, the freshman.
You'll see it again. But that was a previous save made by Madison. And now here they come again.
And this time it's Conway on the overlap. Strong challenge on that far side by Kira Christensen. Now Drasher. Linking up with Conway. Brantner ran out of space in the middle. Cleared for Esog. Tight to her immediately. It was Brianna Monahan. Good first turn there by Matilda Vergara, who's in for the first time for Eden Prairie, number 3. Another young player, just a sophomore. Brewer, high for Gerber. Flag stays down.
Yeah, I thought she may have been a little bit offside, but it was pretty close. No call made.
Defended by the end line in the end, so just running out of space on this bouncy turf. Seeing a lot less use in the fall here as it would in the normal season. No football cleats to tear it up on Friday nights, at least for now. That will be a spring decision, of course. And Gerber, who has made an instant impact since coming in just a few seconds ago, winning the ball back there in a dangerous spot, but it goes out for a goal kick.
And Madison again with a goal kick.
Not much of a drop-off for Wayzata with that bench brigade coming on a few minutes ago. We talked about Drasher, but she's the player that we've probably mentioned the least of the three who came on, or the four who came on, and they've kept the attack going. There's a foul on the far side. So Ambrose to set it up again, right in front of the Eden Prairie spaced bench. That one doesn't get near the target, out for a goal kick.
Here's a good look at number 4, Ambrose.
Had a very active first half, both
Yes,
on the field and literally on the field, trying to find a contact lens.
Yes. Now she's doing good. We were saying earlier that Wayzata defense, midfield has been doing a great job of getting the takeaways.
Conway.
Nice turn and pass.
Now Marson for Eden Prairie. Timmerman looking through the middle, and there is Ambrose again. Vergara won it for a moment. Eden Prairie back on it, looking for Becker. Becker a goal scorer in their season opener against Washburn. Ambrose the clearance. Michelle Nelson for Eden Prairie. Now Vergara, space on that far side. Marson. Set up nicely there for Taylor Kochevar. Shot skipped wide.
Goal kick for Wayzata.
11 minutes to play in this first half, and Wayzata Sig has controlled the game, but scoreless.
Yes, the ultimate good news, bad news. Good news is you're controlling the ball, controlling the game, but you haven't scored yet. And then for Eden Prairie, they haven't had much offense, but they haven't given up anything yet either.
Trying to play in Gerber there. She stayed away from it. I think she would have been flagged had she activated herself after that ball. Marson wide for Rupp. Finds the Eden Prairie bench.
I thought the same thing,
Coach Taylor giving instructions from the sideline.
Sure, a lot of teaching for both of these coaches this year.
Yes.
Again, limited practices to build things up, limited games to work with, and young teams on both sides.
Yeah, sometimes that's a good thing, because if you have a young team, you can build it the way you want it.
Talking about for Taylor in her first year, starting with a new group, is that what you mean?
Actually, for both teams. Both teams have had some new players that they have to get indoctrinated.
There's Munyon for Wayzata. Gerber offering the wide option.
Oops.
Wanted the cross, but sliced it.
Goal kick, Eden Prairie.
Looks like one of my golf shots.
Did you get out today? Would have been a great day for it.
No, actually, I was on the St. Croix River today.
Oh, that's not a bad option either.
No, it was nice. Wife and I went for a boat ride. So.
So you've crossed the Twin Cities today.
Oh, yes.
From the St. Croix to here.
Well, St. Croix is home. Good throw in, good distance on it.
Ambrose looking for a new ball and finally does have it here. Under 10 to go in this first half. Scoreless between these two teams. And the last meeting between the two, October of last year, did end as a goalless draw. After extra time, that wouldn't be an option today, the extra time portion. But of the 4 halves played between these two teams last year, 1 goal between the two games. Wayzata won the opener nearly a calendar year ago. In fact, exactly a calendar year ago, September the 14th, 2019, 1-0 that game at Eden Prairie.
So you're not expecting a 6-4?
Well, you never know. I'm going for the reverse jinx.
Okay.
See some goals. We've seen some chances, of course.
Well, typically when a team dominates this much, once they score a goal, then it seems to come in bunches. But Eden Prairie is holding really tough on defense. And
looking for the counter. They might have had it there. That pass a little bit behind Esog. Able to recollect it. Tries a difficult cross-field ball for Kochevar, who was able to get clear from Conway, but that was dealt with by the defense. Only as far as Marson. Kochevar again, this time coming back to pick it up, Megan Smith. Smith wants to start the rush herself for the middle, and Brewer. That ball up the far side looking for Brantner. Brewer has moved up with Drasher coming in for Wayzata. Out of that attacking midfield role into a more central striking role for Brewer. So she was affecting the game pretty well from midfield. Now very much the focal point of this Wayzata attack. Gerber has formed the third of the three-headed monster up front. She's had a great introduction here. Now Munyon. Never could get the cross away. Well defended by Michelle Nelson. One did roll just out of play past the foot of Ambrose. Drasher. Turning is Josie Brooks, finding Gerber again. Ambrose closed down by Esog. Throw-in belongs to Wayzata. 6 minutes remaining in this opening half. Another long-range effort. Madison sees this one wide off the foot that time of Megan Smith. Or pardon me, Conway coming in from that far side. Brantner nods it down for Brewer. And right back into the action. Brantner trying to make the run, but the ball just a little too far out in front of her. It's a dangerous combination of players up there, Brewer and Brantner, side by side.
Yeah, not only for their scoring abilities, but also their passing ability.
Gerber, good ball for Brewer. Work to do here, one-on-one. Does get a cross away. Brantner looking to turn. Gerber's replaced her on that left-hand side. Brantner does get the shot away, but couldn't curl it far enough. Just had to get around it. And Madison able to see it wide.
That was actually a very pretty play. She turned and shot that with left-footed. You can see it again. Trying to get control of it. Turns. Now watch this. Nice play. A little bit off target, but that was a good play.
Just a lot to do coming from that angle to turn that far and try to get it on target, but still, great effort.
Yeah, and didn't miss by much.
Onto the foot of Kelly Taylor on the sideline. Throw in Wayzata. Over the head of Brantner. Timmerman now. Once again, the yellow shirts there in force. Marson able to help out, but just not a lot going forward right now for Eden Prairie. A layoff by Kochevar. This is better. in the middle, Maddie Pyre, number 14. One back by Wayzata. Brantner over the top looking for Brewer, and once again too long. 3:40 remaining in the first half. Madison, who had a lot of work to do in the first 20-25 minutes, not so much in the last few minutes. Did see that chance wide from Brantner the last time up the field. That's a handball, as sticking the elbow out was Timmerman.
Yeah, on the plus side. You're not wrong, though.
Another opportunity here for Ramira Ambrose.
Try to get the ball into the crowd.
The top of the box, and Eden Prairie able to hammer it away. Monahan lost out. Esog has to turn and does find help. It's Timmerman.
Good counter here.
Good recovery by Monahan. Timmerman. Help coming. Still able to keep it alive. And Esog now. Wide, but not wide enough. Looking for Kochevar. Throw-in belongs to the Eagles here in the final 2.5. The opening 40 minutes. Esog will take a rest, her first of this first half. Coming on in her place, Rose Baines, the sophomore, number 16. Back heel along the far side by Conway, and it went off her last, so Eden Prairie with the throw in here from deep. Kochevar has to negotiate around Conway in the corner there. Conway does a nice job to hold it in. That would have been a corner. Gives away the throw, but the lesser of two evils very much.
Exactly, that's a good point. You don't want to give up a corner.
Especially so late in a half you've dominated. Anything can happen. Now the goal kick as Conway defends it well. Not a very busy first half for Becca Carroll.
No, she's only had to make one save.
Made 4 in 40 minutes of action against Hopkins last Tuesday. They played both goaltenders. Hannah James, a junior, is the other. She, we were told, likely start the game for Wayzata later this week against Buffalo. Right now they've got a counter on and a strong foot in there for Michelle Nelson to at least slow things down, but Gerber picks up the slack. Monahan has joined the rush
1 minute
and
remaining in the
screws the cross wide. That is your center back right there, stepping up to join the play. That's a confident group.
If your center back is up there taking shots, and you know they're pushing.
Well, the Dutch of the 1970s would be very proud. Total football. Any player could pop up at any place at any time.
There you go. Let's go for the orange. Under 30 seconds.
And here is Ramira Ambrose.
Trying to get one offensive play before the halftime.
Gerber's made a lot of things happen. She's a good place to start. Brewer the layoff. Gerber won't be able to get to it, however. And that should maybe effectively do it here. One last desperation heave for somebody in this first half. And it looks like we will go into the break scoreless. Wayzata Sig with certainly a territorial edge, especially for the first 20-25 minutes.
Yes.
And they had by far the better of the chances, but here we are scoreless at the half.
Yeah, we don't track time of possession, but it had to be 80-85% up there. Did a good job of ball control, moving the ball really well. They had some opportunities for scoring, but could not put anything in. And for Eden Prairie, their defense has been solid. They've been able to get in there and get that ball away from the Trojans.
And not a bad first half for the goalkeeper, Madison, as well. So 40 minutes in the books, no goals on the board. We'll be back in a moment here on CCX.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs. You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
There's a look at the Wayzata boys waiting their chance. Right now, watching the girls' team battling in a scoreless draw against Eden Prairie at the half, but they have seen their team, Sig, put together a lot of good opportunities in this first half, just haven't cashed them in yet.
Exactly. As we said before, they've been moving the ball well, passing well, short 1, 2, 3 touch, that's it. So they get rid of the ball quickly, on target, and like most teams, getting the last 5 yards is the toughest.
Going to take a look at some of the highlights here eventually here at halftime. Here they come. You've just seen how all this comes together. Now you get to see it in action, that tour of the truck. But take a look at the tour of the offensive zone. This was 30 seconds into the game, and that was Brewer just poking one over the top. And then, of course, Brantner popping up in the middle. Some very good saves for Lily Madison. And this may be the best of the bunch. That was a tricky shot coming in from long range from Brewer.
That's a hard shot to defend because it's coming at you fast, low and fast, and all you can do is react and hope you get it. There's another one of those.
Brantner was clipped a little bit. This was a great opportunity. What a dummy right there by Brewer. And that set it up. Eventually, it came out. We'll see another chance here in a second that comes out for Brantner. Coming off the bench, Regan Gerber, really impressive for Wayzata. She made a lot of things happen. That was her best chance. Another good save for Madison. There you see the shots. 14 for the Trojans and 3 for the Eagles, and that's just the start of it. 4 corners to none for Eden Prairie, and it's been a busy first half for the freshman Lily Madison for Eden Prairie. The foul count low, however, between these two rivals. Been a fairly clean game.
Yep, exactly. It's been a very clean game. The shots on goal, pretty lopsided. 6 for the Trojans, shooting about a 43% shots on goal percentage. With the 1 shot on goal for the Eagles, it's 33% shots on goal. Haven't seen much of the action part for the Wayzata defense. Their offense has been busy controlling the play of the game.
And one last note about those fouls. I believe at least 2 of them, maybe more, are handballs. So you can tell it's not been a very violent game.
Right.
Either way, nothing close to a card in that first half. And of course, what these teams are playing for, as we take one last look at the Lake Conference standings, Edina out in front, Minnetonka right behind them, then St. Michael Albertville, but Wayzata with a win. They're right back up in there, 3-1. Yep. They'd be in that second spot. Goal differential going Minnetonka's way at the moment. For Eden Prairie, only 3 points in the standings so far. You just don't want to lose touch. You got to find a way to get something here in this second half. Hopkins and Buffalo rounding out the standings there. Only 1 win between the 2 of them. Well, we've got 40 more minutes on the way right around the corner. No score at the half between Wayzata and Eden Prairie here on CCX.
It is normal, even healthy, to feel stress. But the coronavirus has many people worried about health, work, and the future. That stress can add up and make you sick. Some signs of too much stress are sleeping too much or not enough, eating too much or not enough, headaches, stomach aches, or rashes, and feelings of disbelief, fear, or irritability. If you find yourself with any of these symptoms, take a break to just breathe. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Repeat this 4-7-8 breathing pattern 3 to 4 times. For more mental health resources, visit NAMI.org/coronavirus.
Team talk over for Tony Pesnecker here, as well as Kelly Taylor on the far side. Scoreless at the half. And I'd imagine if you're Tony Pesnacker, you have to like a lot of what you've just seen. It's just a matter of that final nail in the coffin. Get that ball in the back of the net. They've done everything else.
Yeah, that's the tough part. When you're having trouble finishing, it can get really frustrating. But like I said, this could be the kind of game where if Wayzata breaks through and does score, it could amass to several goals. But Eden Prairie is doing a good job on defense. And we were talking before the game to Coach Kelly Taylor, told me that they're very strong on defense, even though it is a young team. And they've certainly proved that. See, the Wayzata players are obviously happy and upbeat.
Talking things over, one last little instructional on the sideline with Caitlin Rogney, one of the assistants. And they're ready to go. Looks like both teams are going to settle back into their starting lineups effectively. We did see a lot of opportunities for the bench players in that first half. We expected that. You talked about the fitness levels and everything with the fewer games and the fewer practices. You're going to need that bench to step up at times.
That's a bit of a challenge when your conditioning program means you have to do it during an actual game.
And most of the conditioning these players got over the summer is whatever they did themselves.
Yes.
Wayzata gets us going, underway with Brewer through the middle. Cleared away, but it's going to come right back at her, and she is clipped and fouled. Advantage played by the official here. They get it to the far side, looking for Brantner in the middle. Brantner with the turn, and Madison gets there first.
She tried to
by the Eagles keeper.
Head it back to herself and didn't quite connect.
Looks like the one big change to start the second half. Regan Gerber, who came on late in the first half, on the ball now. She was fantastic in her maybe 15 minutes on the field, and she gets the start up on that right wing for Wayzata. Becker, Esog playing behind the main striker for Eden Prairie right away. And now Kochevar sent through. Becker is the option in the middle. Does get the cross away. A dangerous chance here. The flag goes up, and maybe offside by a shoulder there was Becker, but she had an opportunity to swing through it. Certainly the scariest moment of the match so far for Wayzata, even though it would not have counted.
But that has to give a lift to Eden Prairie because they needed to get an offense going, and they got one on that play.
Off the knee of Regan Smith. Throw in for the opposite number 10, Elizabeth Rupp. Made some good last-ditch defensive plays in that first half, did Rupp, playing at that right back spot for Eden Prairie. Knotted down by Lovekin. Throw in once again for Wayzata. Estby turns and leaves it for Brantner. Down the line. Estby giving chase. Madison well out, communicating with her defenders there to clear it away. Megan Bowling providing the screen.
This will be another throw-in opportunity for the Trojans deep in the Eden Prairie zone.
Amaya Conway. Great turn by Brewer, opening up space to the middle and gets a good shot away and hits the football crossbar.
Over the top, goal kick.
Well, she tried one from just that spot in the first half and forced Madison into an excellent save. That one wasn't far away. And no goalkeeper was touching it had it been on target.
No, I think she was deliberately aiming for that corner. Watch the top corner right here. She was aiming for that little corner spot on the top far side. Didn't miss it by much. And you're right, there's no way that keeper is going to get near that ball.
Great shot by our crew there. Good angle to see exactly where Brewer was aiming. Over the top and easy for Becca Carroll. Summer Siemens in the middle. Watched by Esau, does play it wide. Lily Nayar. One player we don't see out there, and that's maybe why Gerber is starting the second half, is Ramira Ambrose, who was really central for Wayzata in the first half, starting the second half on the bench. The only breather she got in the first half was because of the contact lens. You hope that's not why she's over there, but maybe just her first rest. You never know if it came loose again. Now Brewer. Looking long. Gerber is onside here, played onside by the defender on the near side of the field. And well defended on the far side by Michelle Nelson. Now Brantner, and has her shadow with her, tried to feed one in for Gerber. Kira Christensen right on the back of Brantner every time she touches the ball here. Bolig. Intercepted on the far side by Brooks.
For some reason, I don't see, oh, there she is. Again, I couldn't find Ambrose. She's down, sitting on a chair, watching the game.
It is odd to see these spaced out benches. Usually those are places of great conversation. It's hard to talk to the players on the bench. You guys got to turn around and everybody's 6 to maybe 12 feet away from you.
That's a weird set of circumstances.
Chance here now for Lovekin. Sends one forward, but Monahan right there. Brianna Monahan marshaling that defense for Wayzata. Through the middle, Brantner again. Great turn by Brantner. Got past Bolig, but good help coming that time from Michelle Nelson. Esog now for Mim Marson. Once again, Monahan and Esog battling for a loose ball. Summer Siemens hits the official. Now we get the whistle. Did he blow that dead because the ball hit him?
Yes, he did.
He's in play. Doesn't actually need to do that.
No, but he thought it may have created a unfair advantage, so he decided to stop play and draw out the ball.
Very generous of him.
Yes.
Brantner couldn't take it with her as it spun off the side of her head. And came back from an offside position here as the flag goes up on the far side of the field with 33 minutes remaining. Much tighter defensively for Eden Prairie. They look like they've pushed up a little more here in the second half. Defending very deep and giving away chances in that first half. They're not really allowing the chances to get in for Wayzata here at half number 2.
It's a turnover for Eden Prairie.
Rupp for Becker. Becker wins the throw off the foot of Megan Smith. We are going to see the first substitution of the second half. Eden Prairie making the change. Looks like it's Esog who is heading off. Cross cut out. Handled nicely there by Megan Smith. Long ball for Brantner, and the flag's going to go up again. Just a hair offside.
Wasn't offside by much, but enough to get the flag up.
And that's right in line with about where at least I'm sitting up here in the press box. I actually had a decent view of it, and it just amazes me how well linesmen do with that call. Everyone talks about it, and of course now with the professional levels with VAR, they can never be wrong, or everyone's going to know about it.
Yes.
But with the naked eye, linesmen get it right. I'd say about 99.9% of the time. As Espy runs out of room, rough first touch on this near side. Waiting for it to come down is Brooks.
Ooh, that was almost dangerous.
Left a lot for Monahan to do. Brantner coming back for an offside position again. And with this higher line that Eden Prairie is playing, that has caused some of these offsides. Esog, pardon me, it was not Esog who left a moment ago. She's still in there. Battle in the corner here. Conway able to slip free. Not a lot of room to work from out there, and able to escape twice, but does turn the ball over. And a handball called there against Wayzata. That's a tough call, but the arm was away from the body for Dana Brewer. And now Eden Prairie with a good opportunity here. Mim Marson from about 35 yards. Let's see how she decides to play this. Has 5 targets in the box, but this is within shooting range if you want to try to go for the floater.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Sort of played it in between, and it's right into the breadbasket for Becca Carroll. Will go down as a shot on target, though, for Eden Prairie. That's the one thing I think if you're Wayzata, especially the way this game has gone, giving away a set piece here in the second half. You're going to have to be on your toes. Brewer crossed herself up a bit.
Yeah, this kind of game you can't afford to make a mistake. It could be fatal.
Once again, Elizabeth Rupp in the right place at the right time. Estby had designs on taking off down that far side. Does come back to it. Bit of a wayward ball, but it will find its way to Regan Gerber. Back to Espy. Looking for Gerber at the back post. Able to get on it eventually. 2 white shirts there do the job. Out for Becker. Wants the overlap, but too far out in front of the target. Kylie Lufkin on the near side for Eden Prairie.
Eden Prairie on the attack. Foul called against Wayzata.
So a chance here for the Eagles once again. This one decidedly not in shooting range, but chance to put one into a dangerous spot here. Dealt with by the Trojans. It will come back out for Brantner. Wants to send Espy down this near sideline, and Espy got all turned around. Under a half hour to play here. Brewer leaves it back for Monahan. Tricky ball back. Kochevar is going to chase it, and some communication there between Carroll and the defender necessary.
Yeah, I really thought
Megan Smith.
I thought the keeper would want to keep that ball coming through to her so she can get a kick out of it, a drop kick.
Brooks down the far side. Gerber Very tricky with the ball at her feet. We've seen that already. And wanted to send Brantner to the corner, but Brantner had other ideas. Works hard, though, to win it back from Bolig and earn the throw. Takes it quickly, trying to catch two Eden Prairie defenders out. Comes back for Brewer with a chance, and just wide.
Just wide. Goal kick, Eden Prairie.
Well, Brewer's range, she has shown, is anywhere within about 30 yards here. 3 long-range cracks at it she's had in this game. None of them have missed by much. In fact, one was on target.
Nice hard kick. Just on the outside of the near post.
Brewer, a second-generation Trojan, her older sister Ava, big part of the state tournament teams from 2017 and 2018, and she's trying to run onto this. Deflects out for Espy. And Espy wins the corner.
Smart play.
For Wayzata.
First corner of the second half.
They take it short. Driven cross, pops up in the air, and trying to knot it back over her head there was Gerber. And Madison was right on top of it. A tough ball in for Brantner on that low driven cross. Just couldn't settle it. Take it on the first try. Megan Smith back for Monahan. One back by Esog, but not for very long. Now Regan Smith. Brewer from Estby. This is what Wayzata was able to do in the first half. Just move the ball through the middle of the field.
Right.
Really without a lot of pressure. Get it up to players like Gerber, and they can start to make things happen at the edge of the box.
But you can see the Eden Prairie defenders are now marking up a little bit tighter than they were in the first half. Here's an opportunity.
This is Siemens, and
Shot
that goes wide.
Goal kick.
Another Eden Prairie substitution. Lovkin is going to come off on this near side of the field. Timmerman coming back on for Eden Prairie.
Wayzata again with the throw-in, maintaining possession.
They've had that all game. What can they do differently? Is it just a matter of finishing at this point?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. They're taking some good hard shots, but they're missing the goal area. And Madison's not going to give them another opportunity. You get one shot at her, and that's it.
And two young goalkeepers in this game, and we've seen a lot more of Madison, so we'll direct this mostly towards her. But a young goalkeeper to command the penalty area the way she does. She is out aggressive. Again, we mentioned she's not the tallest goalkeeper in the world, but she's got the presence in there in the box, and that goes a long way. Throw in to be taken by Elizabeth Rupp. Looking for Timmerman.
And the ball goes over to Wayzata for the goal kick. Actually, Eden Prairie's had the same problem. They're not getting any good shots on the goal area.
Estby looking for Brantner. Well defended there by Kira Christensen, and now Timmerman. Timmerman looking for that through ball. Eventually they're trying to find Becker, but again, two yellow jerseys for every white one at the edge of the area. And Monahan will give up the throw.
And again, better off giving up the throw than you're giving up the corner. This Rupp again with the throw in.
Becker coming off. Kochevar comes back in. Throw in towards Esog. Now Baines trying to get on it for Eden Prairie. And the shot eventually does come. Not much on it for Elizabeth Rupp. It's a goal kick. And here come the substitutions for Wayzata, including Ramira Ambrose back into the game. Also, El Novak, freshman number 21, is in for the first time. Nayar comes back in, and Anna Munyon. And Ambrose will play the left side in the back trio here, taking that spot away, at least for the moment, from Amaya Conway.
And back to Rupp, who is the de facto throw-in specialist.
Isak looking for the cross. It does get there, and the chance came for Kochevar. And again, that may be the best opportunity yet as we see the upcoming schedule. Later tonight is the first one. Boys teams will take the field. And then the doubleheader at Breck, SPA and Benilde on Thursday night. And of course, Friday night, St. Anthony and Brooklyn Center. The early start at 5 o'clock as Timmerman moving in for Eden Prairie, and the ball pinballing around, and luckily for Carol, it landed in her arms. Eagles starting to turn it up a bit.
That was dangerous right there. I think the defense got caught a little bit flat-footed that time.
Brantner looking for a place to turn. There wasn't one. Again, Elizabeth Rupp has done some great defensive work. Now Novak, good ball. Brooks to the far side for Lily Nayar. And once again, as we saw in the first half, moving up to play as more of a central striker, Dana Brewer. So Wayzata pushing for that goal that they may feel like they should have by now. Novak, the 1-2 with Nayar. Does win it.
Again, Eden Prairie defense staying home.
Comes over top of everyone, waiting for it to come down as Munyon, and never really did sit where she wanted it to. And in the end, a harmless shot for Madison. She was available. Not sure that ball was originally intended for her.
I don't think it was. It kind of happened. Here we have a 2-on-3 for Eden Prairie. That's stopped by the Wayzata defense as the ball goes over the touchline.
Regan Smith hustling back. Now Esog. Basically done the opposite of Brewer here. Esog has dropped further back to get on the ball more, and does have the long range effort, but an easy one at the other end for Carroll. Should mention while we still have time here, Eden Prairie is playing a player short today. Myra Morjani, a junior attacker, tore her ACL and actually had surgery today. Eden Prairie team Twitter account actually sent out some pictures of her sitting in her hospital bed with the thumbs up, getting ready for her surgery. So we do wish Myra the best for the recovery ahead. If you need someone to talk to about it, Maddie Drasher in this game for Wayzata knows exactly what she's going through and what lays ahead.
Yes. Nice ball movement here by the Eagles. Here's
and they send one through. Timmerman might have a chance here and just couldn't get to it. Becca Carroll alertly out.
That's the best opportunity they have had the entire match. They could have gotten to the ball, that would have gone in. Nice play here.
A ball where you just wish you were playing on grass, and that would be Timmerman's all the way. Novak. Another youngster for this Wayzata team. Over the top, and here's a chance for Brewer. And it sets down for Brantner to roll it in, and Wayzata finally has the breakthrough.
Correction, no goal.
But no, the flag up on the far side.
Free kick.
And I wonder if that's on Brantner, because certainly Brewer was not off.
No.
And Madison, who came a long way for that one. We mentioned commanding the area. She was trying to command 30 yards out there and just coming for a ball she was never going to get to. A break for the youngster.
I think that was probably a mistake on the keeper's part to come that far out.
And Brantner has seen the flag now cancel out a goal. Certainly motivated. And well played in the corner once again by Rupp. Let's watch this play again.
Yeah, there was the offside.
I'm not sure either player was ever offside. I guess it had to be Brewer, but it looked like she was played onside by the defender that Brantner had on her. So I'll have to go back and take another look at it, but Wayzata might feel like they should have one there. Munyon able to poke one past Rupp. Not an easy task in this game. Rupp has been rock solid on this right-hand side for Eden Prairie. Watch it again. There's no offside there.
It was before that.
When does the flag go up?
There she's offside.
I wonder, well, if it's Brewer, maybe, but she didn't really do anything after she played the ball. So interesting.
Yep. Well, the offside is sometimes confusing. I mean, we've seen many cases where the offside has gone up, the flag has gone up, but that player wasn't in the action area, so the referee has the option of disclaiming it because the player was not involved in where the action was.
Oh, and the flag went up late, so I wonder if he's flagging Brewer because she was stayed active and was following the ball in, even though she wasn't going to play it. Because remember, it's not the last defender, it's actually the last two. But one of them is almost always the goalkeeper. That was the rare instance where the goalkeeper was not the last player back. That's a tough one for a linesman, and may have gotten it right as Brewer goes for the back heel.
Crossing pass one time.
And if Brewer had just stopped after she played the pass, even if she's wandering up there, she is not active, wouldn't be offside. So.
And here's the upcoming games for the Eagles.
Another substitution as well. Conway coming back in for Munyon for Wayzata. It's Nayar on the far side. They're still going after it here, the Trojans. Brantner, she tries the back heel, and again, the Eden Prairie defender is staying right on that. Maggie Belangi on the far side, senior substitute for Eden Prairie. Coach Var earns the throw, looking for Becker. Esog lost out, and a free kick here for Eden Prairie. This is what we talked about. Eagles with a chance from a set piece as the foul goes against Megan Smith. Coach Var won it. Now she'll try to jog up and be part of the solution here for the Eagles.
38 yards out.
That was a good ball, and Carroll, in the end, made it look easy.
Shot on goal handled by the Trojan keeper, Dr. Carroll.
Floating one out, looking for Brantner, and just a little bit too fine along the sideline. Quickly taken throw by Michelle Nelson. And that ball came in and then went back out again, so Wayzata will take it over. Brewer for the freshman Novak. Nayar. In the middle, Brantner again. Prairie players, I think, may have wanted a handball there. Now Novak, can she tee one up? Eventually does on that second effort, and that one was inches wide. No, it's in. I thought it had curled around the post. It bounced in off the post, and it's a first varsity goal for El Novak.
And finally, with 11:41 to go in the match, Wayzata puts one in. I thought it was wide too, but I think it flipped underneath the netting. Here we see it again.
Well, it certainly did go in the end, but it looked like it went wide there, and it hit the post right as it hit the ground, and that's what I think threw us off. It was the reaction of the Wayzata bench that alerted me that they'd actually scored. So after all that domination in the first half, a player who didn't even play in the first half, El Novak, has made the difference.
Right, and it gets her first goal of the year.
Terribly called by me, but it's a moment she'll never forget if she ever has the tape. A great goal for El Novak. That's a difficult shot to deal with. And did a nice job to stay with it too, because she dribbled herself into a chance. That was closed down. She had to make another one. Still have the feet set right to get the shot away. A lot of work to do there for the young player.
That's a lot of effort for a 9th grader.
You talked about the future being bright for both of these coaches, and we have seen it. Good play from freshmen on both sides. We've seen great play from Estby, Munyon, Conway, and Novak. Those are all freshmen for Wayzata. Madison, a freshman for Eden Prairie. She's been great. Elizabeth Rupp, we've talked about all game. She's a freshman.
Very, very good player.
And Claire Anderson, we saw a lot of in the first half. She's just an 8th grader. We won't even go into the sophomores. There's a lot of those on both sides too, but we only have 10 minutes left, and there's still a lot of game to play here. Megan Smith, wide for Nayar, one of the sophomores for Wayzata. This one may come all the way through. The flag is up against Brantner again. They'll ignore it this time because Madison did win the ball just at the edge of the box.
And that's what we're talking about, though. Just because a flag goes up doesn't mean it's automatically going to be an offside. Flag going up means the player is in an offside position. The Eden Prairie now needs to get a turnover and go back and try and get the equalizer. They've been pushing pretty well in the second half.
Maybe a chance to open up here as Esau trying to find Becker. And it runs all the way through, and Koshvar couldn't get there first. It ricochets back, and it is picked up by Carroll.
A lovely left foot strike by number 21.
The Trojans, they will play on Wednesday at Buffalo. Mentioned they haven't played in a week. Now they have 2 in 3 days, and then tough one against a very good Edina team. It's already beaten them once this year. Now Conway does get the cross in. It comes all the way through for Nayar.
Oh.
Just over the top again.
Got a little bit overexcited that time. And that sails over the top of the crossbar.
That's another, we talked about the ball at the other end where if Timmerman is playing on grass, she catches it. That's one where you might get a better hop for yourself if you're on grass. Those spongy hops on the turf sometimes can kick them up into the shins, and all of a sudden the ball you think you're going to pass into the net, you're passing over the bar.
Right.
You really do have to concentrate greatly in front of goal when you're playing on the turf. Timmerman chasing this, or rather Carroll gets there first.
And distributes immediately, now they come up the left side.
It's Conway who just made that last play, running out of room this time. Now Timmerman, space for Eden Prairie, decides to pass. Stepping up into the play now, Mim Marson.
Wow, we have 3 players collide and they're all on the surface.
Conway and Monahan were the 2 defenders there, and that's what we've seen all day when Eden Prairie players go forward, is 2 players collapsing on the ball at all times.
Yeah, they knew who to
danger person is, and they marked up tightly.
Ball did run out. Substitution going to come on for Wayzata as Estby will come back on. Conway is going to stay in. It's actually going to be Summer Seaman, the sophomore midfielder, who comes off. And a shuffle of positions there as Conway will play the right back spot. And Megan Smith moving into that holding midfield role for Wayzata. Rupp outduels the senior Brewer. Down the line, Brewer might be able to get to this. Christensen, good recovery speed there from the junior Kira Christensen.
It ends up with a turnover.
Timmerman and Estby. Now Rupp for Esog. Sends Smith one way and then the other, but doesn't have an outlet once she turns. Marson now looking down the line for Timmerman. Marshaled by Ramira Ambrose. Down to the final 5:45 as Eden Prairie needs to start throwing some bodies forward here and taking chances.
Yeah, you're right. This is where they need to take some shots, even if they are outside. At least try to get something. Ooh, a little hip check. No foul.
Shoulder to shoulder, says the official. It's been a good duel between Smith and Esau the last couple times up the field. Nice 1-2 here, and it might be opening up for the Eagles. They do get the chance away.
Handled by the Trojan keeper, Becca Carroll.
That was Eleanor Thomas, sophomore number 8. Throw in for Eden Prairie, so they are starting to push those numbers forward. Tony Pesnecker's response is to bust out the Swiss Army knife and put Brewer back in a midfield spot. She is going to go wherever she's needed here, and right now she's going to watch Thomas. Ball floating just past her. Christensen. Routed out by the goal scorer Novak. And a substitution here is Drasher will come back on for Wayzata. The clock stopping here. That's the official putting his hands together. Josie Brooks heads off. Drasher still just a junior, so despite the fact that she didn't get to play last year and has not seen a ton of action this year, she tries to get back to full fitness. She'll have another year really contribute as this ball hops up nicely for Kochevar. Becker moving to the middle. And Kochevar trying to at least earn the corner.
Nope.
Sliced it wide.
I thought she could bank that one off the defender, but missed, and ends up a goal kick.
4 minutes remaining in the second half. 4 minutes.
Timmerman making the run, earning the throw. And now Eden Prairie will really start to get bodies forward. Coming up is Megan Bolig, the senior captain, central defender. Just comes out to the far side as the throw in taken quickly. Cleared to Novak. She'll send it long. Estby's going to hustle after it. Well read by Madison.
Oh, she
and
comes
to put
out
it into the Wayzata bench.
again. Comes out way out of the goal area to clear the ball before the Wayzata offense had an opportunity for a set play.
We saw that on the goal that was called back. That was really the only mistake she's made by coming out, but she's certainly not afraid to be the so-called sweeper keeper. Nayar turning the corner. Good ball to the middle for Drasher, and there's the put away. Pardon me, it's for Dana Brewer.
Boy, was that a pretty play. See that one developing on the far side, and then the nice cross, and then an easy put away.
You saw the dejected Lily Madison. There's not much she could do about that one. I don't think there was a whole lot she could have done about the first goal, which was a great shot by Novak. But when you push numbers forward, sometimes it leaves this, and that's the wrong player to leave all alone 3 yards out.
Yep. Brewer with a nice redirect.
First goal of the year for Brewer. Mentioned with a few seniors, Brewer also just a junior, but she's a captain on this team.
The future looks bright, doesn't it? That's the future
the
for the
immediate
next
future and the long-term future.
I was going to say that. Yeah, they stumbled against Edina in the first game of the year because Edina is #1 in the state. And they've come back strong since then.
And just their third win of the season. They have a game that was canceled, did Wayzata, so they haven't played as many as most, but this will push them up in the standings. Of course, Buffalo on Wednesday, and then they get that other crack at Edina a week from tomorrow. Trying to make something happen on that far side was Marson, but it's well covered by Wayzata. There's not been enough space for Eden Prairie. And once that first goal went in for Wayzata, you knew they were going to have to start to take some chances, and clearly that was not the game plan tonight for Kelly Taylor, and it's hard to make that adjustment with 10 minutes remaining. There were times during this game where it looked like Eden Prairie trying to spring those counterattacks. It might work out for them, and they created some dangerous set pieces.
Yeah, they had some very good transition on the counter. Here's an opportunity.
That was actually played back by a Wayzata boot. It will be the first corner of the match for Eden Prairie. It's a clearance you have to get right because coming for the ball was Carroll, leaving the net wide open. Over to take it is Koshvar.
This should hook towards the goal area.
Toward the penalty spot. And it's right up on top of the goal line, and Carroll able to make the play. She had Bowling right on top of her, trying to knee one in from about 3 yards out. Just couldn't get the contact on it.
Good opportunity there for the Eagles. And that should do it for the match. Less than 3 seconds.
And that will be the final horn. So Wayzata had to wait a long time to get that first goal. It came courtesy of Novak. And the junior Brewer, with just a few minutes to play, put the icing on the cake. But for Wayzata, a game that they really controlled from start to finish, and they get the result.
Yeah, they worked the field really well in the first half, and they continued doing that in the second half. But finally, as we were talking about, getting the killer shot, getting the finishing.
And congratulations to El Novak, her first varsity goal. And it proves to be a match winner, and it was certainly a worthy goal of a match winner. A long-range shot from outside the area, in just off the post. It even fooled us with the way it bounced into the net. They all count, and that was a great one for Novak. So Wayzata gets the win, their third consecutive. And for Eden Prairie, they'll have to try to turn it around the next time they take the field. Good game here in our opener. Stay tuned for the boys game coming up next. The Trojans move to 3-1 on the season.